It's Master Jedi. Let's get that out of here. All right. Welcome everyone to REALMigos. We kind of changed it up a little bit on you. I apologize for that. My son had not the championship game baseball, first playoff game. We went to 9 innings in a game we usually play 6 innings. So got a lot of free baseball. That was fantastic. So had to move today. I also threw another curveball at you. We were initially going to talk about Dallas. So we brought Levi Lassick on, the classic Lassick on, to talk about Dallas. He did a really good job of oiling up his hair and slicking it back for us tonight. So he's going to be fantastic when it comes to talking about Dallas. But we got the curveball was Zillow decided to be Zillow and do what Zillow does. So we're going to talk about Zillow. And then after about an hour or so, we'll talk about real estate in Austin and get all that fun stuff. Alan, what's up? Let's go Dallas.
All right. Alan, we already got the first fan coming in. That's what I'm saying.
Get out of here, Alan. Yeah. Alan, get off that channel. I'm just kidding, Alan. You're welcome. All right. So here we go. We have, as always, the Benevolent Beret. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you for having me. Excited to get into this topic today.
Yeah, you were the one that was like, if we don't do this, I'm going on strike and leaving REALMigos permanently. Exactly, and I was like, man, I just can't do that. I can't lose Ian.
That seemed like that would have been a good out for you.
Yeah.
Welcome, Levi. You're very welcome here.
And as always, we have Mr. Wonderful, Beautiful,
Thank you.
Wonderful,
slicked back mullet man, Kevin Knight, with the best last name on the planet. Welcome.
What's up, team? Standing gang tonight. Ceiling gang.
Mark's already at it.
My accent's about as thick as his mullet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I turned the camera to the side so you can get the full depth of the experience.
So Mark K, I've just been through puberty, so I have a deeper voice. That's all.
Oh yeah. I'm still working on it. Don't worry about it.
All right. Too far? Is that too far now? Sorry.
No, you're good. See, Mark, look, this is how people in Dallas are, man. They just come on. We're all being nice, and he's just going heat right out of the gate. Just kidding. All right, so let's talk about what the thumbnail and title is all about. Zillow. We got some good stuff about Zillow. Zillow announced 25% reduction in staff after hiring 2,000 people. They went all in on the iBuyer. I was on Katie Day's podcast the other day, and she asked me, is iBuyers going to hurt real estate agents? And I said, no, real estate agents are going to hurt real estate agents, not the iBuyer program. So that was a fun chat. But Zillow now getting out of the iBuyer program. Who saw this coming? Everybody on this channel. I did. So Kevin, Ian.
Yes, sir.
My main man, Lassick Classic. What do y'all think?
Who are we going to first?
Whoever wants
the
to
first
talk.
person to talk. Yeah.
I think the first thing I want to say is, so I was reading an article. I've got it up and I can share it later, but they were on track to buy 5,000 houses a month by 2024. That's a big number. That's a lofty goal, right? Like what were they expecting to be able to accomplish? Like, look at everyone else who's trying to buy houses. That was already a problem. I think that was a huge problem to begin with.
Yep.
I'll find an article here in a second, but yeah, keep going.
I mean, we found, obviously, we talked about this last time we talked. Remember, we spent a significant amount of time, with Katie, right? When we were talking about homes, right? Because we were looking at Phoenix, I think, counting how many they had there. I had said the week before, and we had not talked about this yet, but the weekend before, I went to take some people out to look at houses, and there weren't very many in the criteria that they were looking for, but like 75% were all iBuyer homes. And so I was like, well, obviously there's something going wrong here because those aren't even selling either. So, I mean, I don't think any of us are surprised. I'm just surprised it happened so fast.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's absolutely great, and I think it's the market at play. And here's the thing: I think this also proves that boots on the ground are probably the most valuable asset in the real estate game, right? Because you're involved in the transactions, you're involved with the clients, you're involved with what's actually happening as to where, iBuyers, if they're just making calculations or counting on AIs or anything like that to try to predict and buy and sell. Same thing with all the YouTubers, you could say, that are predicting market crashes every single day on YouTube, looking at charts and graphs and everything else. And the reality is that we've got people, over 500 people moving per day to Dallas, Texas. We've got the land to grow. We've got the jobs to grow. We've got the infrastructure to grow. We're a business-friendly city. We're a freedom-friendly city. So, to me, I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. You can't predict that. Also, these iBuyer platforms or, companies, you go and look at any of their listings, any of them, they're run down. The lawns are overgrown. They're not taking care of that listing. They don't even care. It's just a number to them. And so I think what goes around comes around. And if you try to just play the system without, and I think that's why real estate agents will be relevant, as long as they stay out of their own way. Right. And just continue to just focus on helping people. And the thing is that to me, all this stuff, here's my overall opinion on all of this stuff really is the fact that, median home prices or things like that. I mean, to me, it's like when we're working with a client, we have to find that client one house. That's it. They're looking to buy one house. And that one house is a complete anomaly as far as whatever's going on. It doesn't matter what the market is doing. We've secured homes at list price. We've secured homes actually under list price, and we've secured homes over up to $100,000. To us, we take every house on a case-by-case basis, and it really depends on what the situation is and what the story is with that house. And that's just something that I don't think any iBuyer or AI or anything can really, accomplish. And that's just my opinion.
I love that you said boots on the ground. I think that's undervalued. Being, all of us sit there and we spend our time going out, seeing these houses, spending time with people that can't necessarily be here. I know Jeremy, myself, Kevin, we all have lots of, and you probably have tons of people that are relocating. You said how many people are moving to Dallas every day. So it's probably more in Austin, right?
So I find the whole thing interesting because here's the deal. So a couple things. Kevin, you said you went and saw some Zillow properties or iBuyer properties. I've seen a lot of these iBuyer properties before the whole announcement they were shutting down. I was about ready to write an offer on one Zillow property with a client, and the house was okay, but it wasn't great. And for the price, I was like, yeah, we're going to write a 15 grand below list price offer minimum. And then I've had other people that were going to sell to Zillow. And when I was looking at what they're actually selling to Zillow for, I was like, well, we could make a little bit more than that. But damn, that Zillow offer is not terrible. They're asking for 8%, which you're definitely going to make more the route we're going to go. But we talked about this last time. So two things on that. You could sell to them and it takes the ease of having to put it on the market. You make a little bit less, but you have ease, right? Second thing though, is how do you resell that property when like you're buying it at just below market value? There's really not a lot of room. And, a lot of these like Opendoor, Orchard, all these other ones that are buying properties, they're not buying them at close to value. They're buying them probably like, 80% of value, putting in, 8% in upgrades, and they're still 12 plus fees. So, I mean, that's how they're making it happen. Where when I was looking at some of the stuff Zillow, I was confused. And this is all before kind of like the craziness recently. Now, as far as like agents not being on the ground, here's a prime example. If I were to look at just data like Zillow's Zestimate, which they also came out and announced that they were full of shit and they were not actual numbers and they were guessing, which, geez, you were off by 8%. It's a pretty shitty guess to begin with. But I had a client that came to me this week, two investors pretty much. And I basically said, hey, this house just came back and hit the market. I called the agent, asked what happened. I'm like, we have to get an offer in today. We got an offer on it under contract. And my investor was like scared because we did it sight unseen. We walked in that property. He's like, this is better than the photos. I'm like, yeah, I know this neighborhood. So yeah, I mean, there is, and this isn't to sell anybody on using a realtor. Do what you got to do. I mean, if you think you're going to make money and not using a realtor, go for it. But the reality is that having that experience and know what to buy and what not to buy. I think Zillow didn't anticipate having all the costs of flipping. Flipping is not an easy game. People ask me why I don't flip, because it fucking sucks.
You know, I had a client also this week. We just got under contract 2 days ago. I actually sent you a video of that house. We were talking about it. So it was another iBuyer. It wasn't Zillow, but it was similar. And sure enough, we wrote, let's say 20,000 under for the offer. And I think we can still go down more because you can tell it was unkept. It was vacant. It was great neighborhood. You know the neighborhood. And it's one of those where if someone saw it, they would have scooped it up too. But there's less marketing going behind it. Just people seeing that and having the negative connotation with, oh, it's owned by one of those, like those sorts of things. And it's like, well, why wouldn't we just go in under asking and negotiate? And it was easy. It was an easy deal and it'll close, 25 days or so. And we're good. It was great for my client.
Well, I didn't really watch a whole lot of like people's responses to the whole Zillow thing, but Javier Vidania, who we've had on the channel in the past, shout out Javier, did a freaking fantastic video that I saw this morning. He was like, everybody's talking about the market crashing and all this BS. And he was like, yeah, let's look at some of these Zillow houses. They're listed for this. They dropped their price to this, but let's look at the comps. And the comps are all where they dropped their price to.
Yep.
So they were like every other seller that thinks their house is worth $1 million, and then they listed it for $1 million and it's worth $750. So I think that was part of their problem too. They got high on their own supply of Zillow's estimates. And I think that they were probably trying to buy as many properties as they could, not paying attention to the bottom line because they had an open checkbook, right? And when you have an open checkbook, you buy whatever you want. Problem with using an open checkbook is that checkbook's got to close sometime.
Well, it's interesting because Zillow makes money from selling their ads, selling your data to other
Yeah, Levi,
right?
how much do you spend in Zillow leads a month?
0.
Trick question. He answered it right.
Well, and that's important because like while Zillow has these homes, these assets, they're generating revenue off of this. Well, at least we thought they were. We thought they were generating revenue off of this. Someone's accounting is just a little bad, but that was the plan. And I think so. I've actually got pulled up how many houses they have in Austin right now as one of our.
Yep.
Right. So these are open Zillow houses in Austin. So if anybody's looking and they've been having a hard time getting offers accepted, my gosh, like this is your chance.
They said that they won't fire sale these, but I don't agree.
362, $14,000 price cut. Go right now.
Go right now.
Call us now or whoever and get it done.
Levi's saying that's over list price in Dallas because Dallas you can buy anything for like $100,000 in Dallas,
and
right?
Legitimately, look, there's a lot of good properties here. There's a lot of good properties, and I actually pulled up. I did Levi a solid, and I pulled up their data too. So it's actually 362 total listings amongst DFW, Austin, and San Fran Antonio. 362 homes. So those are 362 good buys as an investment property or primary residence right now. Like, I'm not joking when I say this is legitimately the best time for you to buy a home. They are completely unemotional about that sale.
Yeah.
Which means all you have to do is get a good offer, have it ready to go, be well qualified. And as long as it's not like 100,000 under ask, I still think you're going to be able to snatch these up for 20, 30 grand under what they're asking for right now. And they'll be happy to get them off the books. And if they don't, because this is what I think happened. This is my theory. I think they went to one of these portfolio buyers like that we've talked about, like that is buying a bunch of investment homes and offered it as a full portfolio to them. But the big dog with the money has the negotiating power. And I'm sure they said no. I'm sure they gave them a lowball offer for that whole portfolio. And Zillow was like, no, we're going to try it on our own. They're like, great, call us when you're done. Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, they'll end up offloading if they don't sell these within like 30 days, definitely before the end of November. Then they'll sell the whole portfolio to somebody else, full cash.
Yeah, and if you look at some of those numbers, many of them were less than the median price was last month and even the month prior. So you definitely have a chance. And they've been some of them have been sitting on the market a substantial amount of time.
Yeah.
So all things we've been saying week after week after week.
Well, didn't somebody say, and this is through a source that said somebody did an analysis of all the Zillow homes in like 20, what was it? Oh, I mean, let me pull up the number. You guys can chat, but I'm going to pull up this number so I don't get it wrong.
Levi, do you think that Zillow price dropping their properties in Dallas is going to impact the Dallas market?
That's a good question.
So where's your data? Because sorry, because every time I say something about the market and I talk about something, oh, but this guy doesn't know data because he's not pulling up a little graph that he made. And, we don't know if that data is right, but there's a little graph right here. So his data is fantastic. It's the best fantastic data in the world, even though it's missing like 90% of the data sets that prove him fucking wrong. But anyway, Levi, go ahead, pull up your chart and tell us why it won't. Sorry, and I wasn't referring to Levi, but Levi, shows your chart, man.
Well, I don't seem to have my chart on me. So I seem it's somewhere in here, but yeah. I mean, no, it's not. I mean, it's we've worked a couple of iBuyer deals. They're a major pain in the ass to negotiate. As far as trying to even get somebody on the other side of it. The reason we're so successful here with our clients is because of relationships and actually being able to have conversations with the listing agents. So regardless, my business partner the other day secured a home whenever there was two other offers that were $7,000 and $9,000 over our offer. But because of the conversation, because of the relationship, they chose us because they felt like we were a stronger offer and they felt like we were going to work harder for the client to make sure that deal was going to go through. So even just a little hint of the other two agents having a little bit of sketchiness, they would rather take 8,000 or 7,000 less and go with us. And that's just something that, you can't get from that. I mean, and no graph or chart's going to really show that either. And so, it's one of those things where, again, it goes back to boots on ground. I was in the military way back in the day. And the one thing we said is, hey, is that it's great to have a plan until the first bullet flies, and then you've got to adjust and you got to make it happen regardless. And usually your plan goes completely out the window at that point. So, we deal with real life situations based on our clients, based on the house they're looking at and the days on market, anything like that. So, I mean, it's just, everything comes into play. Every house is a case by case basis for us. We never look at the market as a whole necessarily for one client. That client needs one house. And whenever they find a house they like, it's our job to understand what it's going to take to get that house. And we pre-negotiate all of our deals. So we understand what it's going to take to get that deal locked in before we even make an offer, because that's the last thing we'll do for our clients either. We haven't put a single client through a second offer based on us. The only deals that we've actually lost is because the client didn't, want to necessarily go with what we advised them on, but they came around usually on the second or third house whenever we said, look, this is what it's going to take. This is what we're going to have to do. And so, but that's just understanding the market. It's understanding the situation with that house and having that conversation and building a relationship too with the other agents.
So to stick with the Zillow path, like you said something about being able to reach people on the other end. I think that's huge, right? Like like I said, we just got this one under contract and it took us more than a day, more than 24 hours to even find out who the escrow officer was at the title company to be able to deposit earnest and option money. Like that's the kind of thing that can really frighten some buyers, but an experienced agent that comes in handy.
It's the same way with working with out-of-state lenders, right? Whenever somebody's coming from out of state and they say, well, I've got my lender, I've been friends with them, forever in California, it doesn't mean they know the Dallas market. They may be licensed in Texas or they can do business here, but I tell you what, every single issue we've had on a lending side is because, they haven't worked with somebody locally, or at least with the team that we recommend. I mean, the team we work with is extremely buttoned up and always lets us know if it's going to be an issue, if they're going to close properly. I mean, they know they haven't got it wrong, but anytime we have an outside force, usually an out-of-state lender that's not in the Texas market, just because they're licensed here doesn't mean they understand the market here.
So
And
are you calling Zillow an outside force trying to get in? Is that what I just heard you say? Is that what they've been?
Let me check with my lawyer.
Don't backtrack now.
So I saw the most brilliant comment today, and I texted to you guys. I'm not going to tell you the channel I saw it on. The comment stated, and this is for sale by owner, this is for you. Somebody asked somebody who talks about the market crashing incessantly if they should. They said, "Oh man, this is the funniest thing I've read all day on the internet." This guy wins the internet for me. Hold on, let me pull it up so I'm not lying to anyone. Where are you guys? Here we go. This guy says, I'm picking up invitation home puts when you made the call. I picked up invitation home puts when you made the call a couple weeks back, but they seemed relatively unfazed thus far. Considering doubling down my position, your thoughts? Thanks for the question, Douglas. To be clear, this channel doesn't offer financial advice, so I can't help you there.
Zillow's down. Did you just say Zillow's down 25% today?
I don't know how much they're down.
It's 25%. It dropped 25%. But
they've been up 50% or something like that, right? Like
everybody's been up. It's been a bull market anyways. But obviously, I'm looking at how my biggest questions on something like this is they lost $422 million last quarter on this business model alone. These are some of the smartest people in the industry, in the biggest market disruptor, and they've somehow collectively found a way to lose $500 million in 3 months. Like this, I don't know. This just makes me skeptical of all that. How did people get these jobs? I just looked up some of the leadership and where they came from. These are smart people. They've earned their right in this industry, but everyone has a master's degree. Pretty much, except their CEO has an engineering degree but no master's degree. What a fool! Just kidding.
Yeah, say Kevin has an engineering degree.
Why would you even do that? Oh, but get this: but the vice president of acquisitions. Guess where he worked before?
Keller Williams. Oh,
Invitation Homes.
Oh,
he worked for Invitation Homes. So, was this a coordinated effort?
Oh my gosh! New conspiracy.
New conspiracy.
Invitation Homes is taking down Zillow.
Invitation Homes plants mole inside a business to disrupt their business model, then swoops in and buys the entire inventory. How awesome would that be if it's true?
Oh man, that would be the great. You heard it here, folks. Jaden, mark this: conspiracy theories. We'll play this back later when we get this wrong.
Get this though. These people collectively lost $500 million in 3 months. They won't all get fired. They'll still get paid. They'll still get bonuses based on performance. It's messed up.
It sounds like they work for the government.
Who knows? The government might be putting them up to this. I don't know. I'm not one to say.
They're a plant. No, they're not the smartest. This is what happens when companies collect data they don't know what to do with. They run it through magical models they don't understand and make shit-high decisions.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I'll say one more thing about it though. You and I talked about this last night, Jeremy. This is what happens when an individual's financial performance is based on company objectives like that. So somebody's raise was based on the number of acquisitions that they were supposed to make this year. So that person potentially made 700,000 versus 600,000 or 500,000 or whatever the deal was. So that person gave up what was the well-being and benefit of the company for their own personal financial goals, which I think is messed up in corporate America anyway. So that's my thought on it, is that they didn't care if Zillow goes under. They still made the money that they were going to make, and even if they got fired, they go somewhere else.
So I know a guy that works for Amherst, which is they've got all these different subsidiaries that buy homes. Basically, they buy and they rent. They don't buy and sell. They buy and rent. And so I don't know if you saw something I posted, but I've known this guy for a while. We've had very spirited arguments in the past. we're still friends, but spirited arguments to say the least. And basically he sent me a text today basically saying like, hey, we're not worried over at Amherst. We're going to be buying $6 billion in homes in the next year. And the company going round and around with him, I mean, basically they borrow other people's money to buy homes, or they take other people's money. Sorry. People invest with them to buy all these other homes, and then they give investments off the rentals. So, I mean,
is it a crowdsourced investment?
Yeah. I mean, they'll have like the Koch brothers give them like, $240 million, and they go out and buy a bunch of homes, but they're not buying homes like Zillow did. Zillow was buying everything they could. They have a price point. They have a model. They have everything they do. They have to write their offers and put homes under contract that make sense, that they're going to do light renovations and then rent out. Zillow was just buying everything they could just to have inventory. And I heard somebody say today, they were like, basically to Kevin's point, they were like, hey, think about all the benefits that they got for putting X amount of homes under contract and buying X amount of homes. Do you think they really cared about them selling after that? No, they were probably potentially making a bonus just for getting homes under contract and closed.
Mm-hmm. Well, using that, as a profiteering option for generating leads and revenue from realtors.
Yeah. And there's so much about this. Like, trust me, I'm so revved up about this. It's not even funny, because I've said this yesterday, the implications for our entire industry are that they were the number one market disruptor. They're the number one search engine for people looking at homes. Yeah. They're essentially, they duped tens of millions of people, 100 million, 200 million people into believing that they were a trusted source. Now they leave an iBuying business and cited the inability to forecast prices. So not only did they were unable to forecast the price of your home when they bought it, they also couldn't even forecast the price when they sold it. But their whole business model is based around the ability to give people that confidence in data of his estimate. So they're not going to be doing his estimates anymore, obviously.
I don't know that it was for them. I don't know that there was any kind of confidence. I think there may have been a public perception of confidence, but was there a class action suit or something like that coming that would have caused something like this to transpire, caused them to want to dip out of the market?
Well, there was
estimates specifically.
No, but it's definitely interesting that they just kind of came out and said that we were guessing. I know there was a lawsuit with Rex.
Rex, right? Yeah,
right. Because Rex was saying that, basically Zillow said, "Hey, look, we're not going to allow you to put your properties on our list on our site anymore because they're not coming from an MLS."
Yeah,
and so I believe that's how it shook out. And so Rex was suing them. But I mean, if I'm Zillow, I want accurate data, right? Even though they didn't have the best data, I don't think all the time, they still want more accurate data than not. And doing that with Rex, you're not going to need the sales price.
Why do this with such fanfare though? Why not just slowly offload all the homes? And then, they basically said, we're going to stop buying homes. And then like a week later, they're like, oh, we have to sell them all, and we're laying off 25% of our entire workforce. Like, it seems weird that it was done with such like gusto, right? Like, hey,
well, that's why I was asking if there was a lawsuit or something that maybe we're missing, because it seems like they're kind of time crunched to get something done. It could just be a pull the Band-Aid off approach, right? Like, I don't care. We'll recover, drop the stock will dip, everybody will start whining for a bit, and then we'll be right back on track to move on to our next trajectory, whatever our goal is at that point.
What does that even mean for them though in the future?
I really don't know. If you can't selling data to realtors and then saying your data is not good.
I wonder if they have Zestimates for all the homes for the people that bought Zillow homes about 30 to 60 days ago, what those estimates are now looking like. I mean, think about that. If they're dropping all of their current inventory by 10, 20, 30, 40%, and you bought a house from them 60 days ago before they made this decision, and you bought it at the height, that's interesting to see what could be coming out of that.
Yeah. It said, this guy said 2/3 of the homes they have listed are listed for less than what they paid for them.
That's a good point Mark brings up.
Yeah, Mark makes a good point. If they start terminating staff, basically they did it with fanfare to get ahead of it. So they run the narrative. I was watching I was just scrolling through, and Kramer was talking about, he's like, yeah, the arrogance of them talking about this. Like, he's like, I called it from the beginning that you guys shouldn't be in the iBuyer program. And they played a clip of him actually saying that. And he's like, the arrogance of whoever the CEO is, what's his name, Braun or something like that. They're like, just the arrogance that he's came out. It's like, you're Barton. They're like, yeah, you came out on TV and acted like this, but people about to lose their jobs. But think about it, people were trying to make hay while they could too. So, I mean, we don't know. Maybe they don't. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they're just people that wanted to get a job, work at Zillow.
So speaking of getting jobs, like, and I don't want to turn this into that kind of discussion, but there are a lot of people that need work, right? Or can work. So maybe the timing works for them. I don't know. There's got to be some rationale with why they're like right now, before the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Maybe
they're trying to get under 100. Maybe they're trying to get under 100 employees. No, you don't have to do mandates.
I don't know that that's possible.
Well,
25% of their workforce.
I think we need to go look at some trades that were made as well, because this would have been an interesting time for some of these guys in the know to have sold off and maybe rebought after this announcement.
So, and then think about how many agents in our market, specifically in our market, maybe in Dallas too, that were like the listing agents for Zillow properties, because Zillow wasn't doing it.
Yeah. So what are they?
How does that affect them? How does that affect their pipeline? How does that affect, all these people that were buying the leads from Zillow? And yeah, it will, what do you call it? Like step down, impact people, which will eventually impact the market. I just don't know at what level.
Well, it's artificial intelligence is the fancy word for algorithm, right? Mm-hmm. And so this makes me very confident that there's no artificial intelligence that's going to replace my job in my lifetime. And I don't think anybody else should be worried about that too, because obviously there was even with the staff that they have, they couldn't have seen this coming with an algorithm not working, right? Because they blame it all on the algorithm. So yeah, I'm not worried about robots taking our jobs or overthrowing our government anytime soon.
I think that's just an easy out.
The algorithm not working?
Yeah.
Well, it just depends. Like, did they blindly go into this and say, well, this estimate says this is worth 340. Let's give them 310 without even looking at sales comps in that area?
No, so I'm telling you, they were like, I have clients that came to me. They're like, hey, Zillow wrote me an offer. And I'm like, this isn't a terrible offer. We could sell it for, they were probably giving them 96, maybe 95% of value, which come on, if you're going to buy something at 95% of value, you're losing money every time you sell it. So when I had two different clients tell me what they're selling, I'm like, how the hell is Zillow going to make money on this? And they're like, oh, they charge us 8%. Okay. 8%, but still there's overhead costs. There's all these fees involved. Like, this doesn't make sense to me. It never did make sense to me. But what do I know? Yeah. I'm just a guy with a fake mural behind me.
I have food in my teeth. Why didn't you tell me?
I thought that was a real mural.
It's real. I'm actually sitting in the front of downtown. Yeah.
What's the difference? Like when you run comps are backward-looking data. They're not forward-looking data. Like you still have to extrapolate that data. So how do you extrapolate that? By sitting in the house and relating it to all the other hundreds of houses that you've seen, right? And then also getting a feel for the leads that are coming in. That's the intangible that no algorithm can really do, is sit there right then and there and look at the house. Because the algorithm, I'm sure, was pretty accurate because they have the effing sold data, right? So from an algorithmic standpoint, they're very confident in the price per square foot. But what they don't see is the condition of the home relative to the others or what the market's doing that week.
So I pulled this up because Zillow obviously, wants to publish something. But here's where it gets interesting. Agent selling fees and cost. They talk about traditional versus Zillow. So they drop it here, but then they don't put anything in additional concessions or repairs. That's the part that really gets people. And then, you scroll down to the end, service charge on top of your 4% is already higher than what an agent would charge you, right? Like, so yeah, they're making their money 10% before any kind of repairs, and they almost do repairs, and then they don't actually do repairs.
$560 million write-off.
Well, they won't be able to write it all off, though. That's the thing.
Well, yeah, they can write it off, and then we got to go back to like cash flowing in Austin. Even if you're not cash flowing, what you're doing is you're building equity. Somebody's paying you rent and paying paying down your mortgage, your debt. And so that's what they're doing.
Imagine if they put all $500,000 into, or $500 million into Shiba. Like, how much money would they have? Be richer than Elon. it's a joke, guys.
Well, so let's talk. Yeah, the Elon.
Speaking
thing,
of,
he's been operating, net negative for a while, and then when
but it's different.
It is different. It's different.
Different.
He uses lots of concessions and things, but
everybody knew he was going to be running at a negative cash flow for a long time. But that's the way all automotive works until you're up and running.
Mm-hmm.
Quick question, Levi, how much Doge do you own? You can't be on this channel unless you own at least a Doge. What are some of the other coins that we were supposed to own?
Shiba was one of them, obviously. Did you see Squid? Does anybody follow that?
Oh,
no,
I haven't seen Squid
They ran
Games
away
yet.
with it.
No. So there's Squid Games, the Netflix show, and then there's Squid. They
it.
made they have a crypto, and it shot up, and now it dropped way back down. It's
they ran away. They ran off with the money. It was intended to be a scam.
Oh, nice. I love it.
Yeah. That's why it dropped, because they took the money and ran.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Like, if you haven't done any research at all, then shame on you.
Are we a crypto channel?
Yeah,
we're crypto adjacent.
Stefan now. He's crypto. Meet Kevin. He's crypto.
Yeah, Kevin hates both of those guys.
I don't hate them both. I just think that they're annoying.
He doesn't hate them. He just strongly dislikes them.
I just think they're annoying.
You're not coming out with the Your Austin Guide crypto coin?
Hey, don't.
There should be a REALMigos NFT. We talked about that.
Don't guys. We can't go there. Okay, we need to talk about this offline. You're gonna spoil everything for me.
Yeah, we're not giving you investment advice. Remember?
No, yeah, we're not investors.
After telling people like 15 months ago that Austin's the best place to invest. Oh, here the crash is coming, and then off to Dallas. How is Dallas, by the way?
What's Dallas?
Yeah, I think you misspelled not as cool as Austin, but it's okay. So we'll pivot. If you have more questions about Zillow and their misfortunes, definitely we'll keep responding to that. But Levi came on the channel to, I guess, kind of explain why Dallas isn't as good as Austin. I don't know why you'd come on the channel to do that, but Levi, I'd love to hear your opinion on why Dallas is not as cool as Austin, but go ahead. Let's hear.
Well, I mean, I guess if you want to spend more money for, and deal with everything that you have to deal with down there, right? Then for the extra money, I mean, go for it. I guess you can.
So let me ask.
As cool as Austin. Yeah, if you want to, I mean, hey, if you like camping, if you like camping on Capitol grounds or the sidewalk, I guess that's cool too.
But we no longer allow that. So let me ask you. So for those that are considering why, I don't know, but Dallas, what's the median prices around Dallas? Like in Austin, we're 525 median in Austin. The outlying city is about 480. So for a nice 2,000 square foot house, what are you getting in the Dallas area besides tornadoes?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the numbers, median home price is around 430. I mean, our average sales price is around 560. So that's just the range that we deal in. So, I mean, it just depends on which suburb you're going to be in and where you're looking at and, what's going on. I mean, Frisco, Plano, all the northern Dallas areas are the most popular right now. Of course, that's where most people want to be, but.
Sorry, Joel, my friend. Oh man, give that guy $5. That's a great one. Okay, so Dallas not as cool. You said your price point is 560, but like if somebody's gonna because here's the problem is everybody always comes to us in Austin. They're like, oh, it's cheap, it's cheaper than California, whatever, and then they're confused of why they can't buy a 4,000 square foot house for $500,000 in Austin. So like what if somebody's coming to Dallas, what really should they expect? Like what should they expect?
Well, I mean, you can find some of those around here still. I mean, they're in just on southeast side of Dallas, but the thing is that Dallas can expand out. So let's see, Dallas can expand out. That's the other thing. I mean, I do like hill country in Austin, but that does limit building capabilities to a certain extent. So you've got large lakes right in the middle of your city as well, like literally in the middle, rivers, so it kind of does that where Dallas can just keep growing out. It can just keep growing and growing and growing out. I mean, it's going to
until it's Oklahoma.
Exactly.
It already is Oklahoma.
You got free reign to grow all the way up there. So, from my perspective, that I believe that's what's really going to kind of keep Dallas in check a little bit, because if things get a little bit too crazy, everybody can say, well, we're just going to move 5 minutes more north or 5 minutes more east or 5 minutes more southeast. And there's room there to grow. And so the new construction communities are just popping up. Now they're getting farther and farther, but I'll tell you what, I'll call it here on this channel. All right. On this channel, it will not be DFW anymore. It'll be DFFW, which it'll be the Dallas, Frisco, Fort Worth area.
Oh, yeah.
And Frisco will be the new hub of the center. Nobody will care about, being out of pocket from Dallas. And because, Frisco will be the new center. And so that's going to create all that growth, like Salina, which you may have not heard of. Salina. It's north of, so it's Frisco, Prosper, Salina. Salina's slated for 350 home sites, and Frisco is only 200,000. So that's almost twice the size, and that's where all the growth is happening. A developer just secured like 7,000 acres for mixed use development in Salina. They're expanding the tollway up there. The tollway is going to go all the way to Oklahoma. So it's all right, I want my laptop to die. I got to plug it in before. But other than that, that would be the reasons why Dallas is way better than Austin. But hey,
I didn't hear any reasons, but
Yeah.
6th Street was cool back in the 90s, I guess. I mean, I guess that's one reason.
Oh, you have not been here for a minute. I'll tell you what.
So, yeah, 6th Street hasn't been cool for a long time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Dirty 6th, but
Yeah.
I mean,
The
East
new
6th
6th, East 6 is
East
pretty
6
sweet.
is balling right now.
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
know
saying. I mean, that's
about
what I'm saying. If you want to go back to the 90s, then I guess, hey.
Can you believe this guy would come on and just start talking smack about Austin?
just because he
These
hasn't been
Dallas
here
people,
since
man.
the 90s doesn't
These
mean
Dallas people, I tell you what.
The last time I drove up 35 through Dallas, I looked down and looked back up, and I was in Wichita. So I was finally happy again.
I've heard this, and I don't know how true it is, but here in Lubbock, if you stand on a number 10 can, you can see all the way to Australia. If you stand on the hood of your car, you can see the back of your own head. I heard that's pretty close for Dallas too. Is it that flat?
No comment.
Crickets, man.
I'll tell you, yeah, Dallas is pretty flat right in the city of Dallas. So you get out a little bit in the outskirts, a little bit.
You mean like Austin?
Or the Southwest. Yeah. No, I mean, Dallas is pretty flat, but it's, hey, it is what it is. We got some great lakes, though, some good lakes to go water skiing and spend time during the summer on. Other than that, it's,
Hold on.
Joel.
Oh man. So everyone, I warned Levi, like, here's the deal. We like to have fun on this channel. So any guest, like last week's guest, I would not give this hard of a time. I like Levi, so I'm going to give him a hard time, but definitely keep giving him a hard time, and especially on why Dallas is not that great. But weather. So in Austin, the weather here is pretty predictably unpredictable. I've heard tornado warnings, and every now and then they're out just north of where Ian is, which is South Dallas, but more that Round Rock area. So do y'all get tornadoes out there, and do you get the crazy weather we get here in Austin?
Well, there was a tornado, a couple of years ago that hit Preston Hollow, one of the nicest areas in Dallas, and it kind of came through. There wasn't any deaths, but it did some damage right in the middle of right in Dallas. But other than that, I mean, I've been here for the last 20 years, and so everyone still lives here. Nobody's really worried about it. You do have the sirens, you hear them from time to time, but it's usually come and gone. But there hasn't been a major one that's gone through and done significant damage. So But Joel, I will say, Joel, I'm about to start hammering on Joel here in a little bit. Now he's making it personal. Foreheads and stuff. It's easy to hide behind a little, little.
Ooh, is that a double entendre?
Hey, Joel's throwing his family out there first. he's not even in the picture. He's putting his kids out in front of him, which is, hey, to me, that's not even a real man right there. But I digress.
Oh man, come on, Joel's awesome. He says funny stuff like the thing about your forehead. That was pretty funny. Warp Data's moving to Buda. Solid choice. I'd love to hear where you're actually going because that's I'm a big fan. So in Austin, we have some really cool suburbs, right? So everybody seems to like Round Rock for one reason or the other, but Cedar Park, Leander's hot. I'm a big fan of Kyle Buda. Did you?
Yeah.
Oh man, at least y'all aren't like snowflakes about it. I think it's great.
That's funny.
That's
so we have some pretty decent suburbs. What are the most popular suburbs people are moving to besides Frisco, McKinney? Yeah, what are the good suburbs to go to?
Well, you got them all right there: Frisco, McKinney, Plano, Allen, Prosper, Salina.
What's the next big thing for suburbs there?
I mean, it's going to be Prosper and Salina. It's, Prosper borders Frisco, and they just built a second high school for Prosper. They're massive. I mean, it was like a $40 million project for the high school.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And the stadium was 20 million. The football stadium.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you what. Friday Night Lights place, huh?
It's definitely moving north. There's some growth moving northeast and southeast as well. So Forney's still mostly affordable. That's where you're probably you can find something in the 300 to 400, 400 to 500 range there. Forney doesn't really get over 600,000. So if you're looking for something a little bit more affordable, then that's a good place. And there's a lot of new construction going on out there.
What about the Colony area?
What
type of colony is it?
There's a colonial woman on the wing of the plane churning butter.
That's where they wear all the bonnets and no, I'm just kidding. So yeah, the Colony's right next door to Frisco. That's just west. It borders the Lake Louisville. But I mean, most of that development there's not a lot of new construction going on there. It was a lot done in the early 2000s, where most of that
back when 6th Street was cool.
Well, no, that was the 90s. That was the 90s. Come on.
What about this? So one thing that we fight with a lot and talk about on the channel is property tax rates, right? So in Austin, the median, I'd say the average tax rate you're going to run to is about 2.2. But with a lot of these new builds, it's 3%. And the city of Austin loves to do whatever they can to find that data, to raise those tax dollars up as much as they can. What do you see in Dallas? Are they just as wonderful about raising property tax values to get that dollar? And what's the median price?
They can be. I mean, I think the median price is probably accurate for here too, 2.2. But I haven't seen anything. There's not really anything in the 3s. So I would say that's where Austin's getting a little crazy right there. So
Houston's worse. Don't even talk about Austin.
I mean, at the most, probably 2.6, 2.7 at the highest. But ultimately, a lot of 2.3, 2.4, 2.5.
Do your suburbs, like the new construction suburbs, do they attach like a mud tax?
Not really. So a lot of them popping up. There's not a lot of PIDs or MUDs there. There's very few of them. So for some reason, it's not as popular here to throw that on there. But I mean, it's something that we always look for and keep an eye out, but it's not as prevalent.
Well, that happens a lot here, right? So we've got a new construction community. Let's say it's a 3.1% tax rate. And then what happens is,
all of Pflugerville.
Yeah. Well, but what happens is over,
Easton
10
Park.
to 20 years, Easton Park, 10 to 20 years, it drops down to being almost nothing. But obviously the property values are going up. And so you're not actually saving money, but the tax rate goes back to a modest, let's say 2.3% versus what was 3.1%. So it does decline over time, for the new construction, but people don't realize that until 20 years down the line when they're trying to buy 90s houses, which is why Round Rock and Cedar Park and some of these other places that have been more established have been have such favorable tax rates in some of the more established areas.
Yeah, so I think I just encourage people. Number one, there's a company that I use personally and I recommend called Texas Tax Protest. It's it's kind of like
they're here too.
Yeah, it's a flat fee. It's really, I thought they undercharge, but I'm not going to tell them.
Isn't it a flat fee, but then they also they take a percentage of what they save you? Is that them?
No, they didn't with me. I mean, I know whenever I bought my house a couple of years back that literally 2 months later, they assessed my home $100,000 more than what I had even bought it for. And so, I hired them, they brought it back down. They got at least $130,000 taken off the assessed value. And no, I only paid the flat fee of it for like $300. And
Wow.
They say they'll lock that in for 3 years. So other than that, I think that's and you definitely got to apply for your homestead exemption. I find that that's not as prevalent in California, or they don't have that in California. So people don't know that when they come here to apply for a homestead exemption. And then if you're a disabled veteran, there's additional exemptions for you as well. And if you're 100% disabled veteran, no better place to live than Texas, where you can get all of your property taxes wiped out, if you're 100% disabled veteran. So come to Texas. We love our veterans, so come on with it.
Metallic Tree asked what we were talking about. So we talked about the Zillow unfortunateness. Buyers. We talked about that for a while, so go back and watch the beginning because we have some fun stuff on there. Levi is now talking about how Dallas is superior to everywhere else, which is a lie.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I meant to say inferior, which is the truth. Sorry, Levi. I mean, you're good, man. Thanks for coming on the channel, dude. That's do you have a Disneyland coming to Dallas?
Man, we got Six Flags. Come on. We don't need no Disneyland here.
Six Flags.
Okay, what else you got?
Well, look, see in Austin. So in Lake Austin, we have like Lake LBJ. You have Lake Austin, Lady Bird Lake. Is that what it's called? Town Lake, whatever that's called. We have F1. We have,
Austin FC.
Austin FC.
Yeah, represent.
We're gonna get the Buffalo Bills. What else are we getting? Oh, we're having that really cool thing that's getting built out off 290. What we talked about that last week. We got Kalahari, we got Ian, Kevin, and myself. Yeah. What does Dallas really have, though? Like
Six Flags,
much, right? Six Flags
and a Galleria, We
have a Galleria too.
Cowboys, come on, that's all you need. That's all.
What else?
That's all you need to know.
What's a Dallas Cowboy? What's that?
Not a real cowboy.
Levi flips the table like Ian did when the chick asked about SpaceX.
Hey, normally we could probably make fun of them, but they're actually doing all right this year.
Yeah, the Cowboys.
Even one with the backup quarterback. That's how good Dallas is.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll backup quarterback. So
see him in the playoffs. Bond market is toast. We'll take down the rest made in China. Okay. Dallas has pro sports. What else is going on here? Not following Austin FC match today. Oh,
yeah, it doesn't start till 8.
Yeah. Okay. We got 8 minutes. Don't worry. Who are they playing tonight?
I can't remember.
Is it at home?
Kansas City.
Is it a home game?
No, it's that way.
Okay. To a downturn. Okay. So Joe has spouted off quite a few times in the channel. Thank you, Dinosaur D, for.
I noticed Joel disappeared after I had to smack.
No, Joel's right here. Joel didn't go anywhere. He's got another fight to go into on another channel. So Joe says he teaches analytics. He also praised that channel. That's ridiculous. And then he also said that all we do is say the market's going up. I don't know if you've watched this channel at all, Joel, but kind of full of shit. That's not what this channel is all about. We don't tell people to always buy. Maybe you should watch some videos every now and then. That'd be great.
Wait, can I go ahead?
But data's pointing to a downturn. Just be curious. Just be cautious.
So it's a 6+ hour drive nobody's driving to the coast from Dallas. I mean, there's plenty of lakes here. You know, you can ski on the lake too. You can surf on the lake.
Wait,
Come on.
can we talk about
what does the D stand for? Dinosaur D. What does the D stand for?
Oh, if you got to ask, you can't afford it. What did you say?
Afford it.
What were you gonna say?
Wait, what?
What were you gonna say, Kevin?
Oh no, I'm not gonna touch this stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know Joe?
No, I don't.
You don't know Joe?
No. Joe
Like,
Mama?
do you know Joe?
No, but he came into the chat and was like, Mayday, Mayday, data's going down, deuces. And he just left.
Oh, yeah. A little sus.
Yeah, a little sus.
Yeah.
It's a little sussy.
Hey, Joe, make sure you give this video a thumbs down before you go, okay?
Guess what?
Analytics, we appreciate you.
We neither say that the market's going up or that the market's going down. We just tell it like it is on a weekly basis. I don't think I'm bullish based on what's going on, but I'm realistic too.
Yeah, we don't talk about the market going up or down. We talk about what we're seeing. But his point was telling everyone to buy. That's specifically what he said. Right. And we also don't do that. I do not think everybody should buy a house. In fact, there are a lot of people that should not buy a house, that can't afford a house, that want a house. But if you are in the market, you have the money, and you need a place to live, and your rent just doubled. No, that is seriously happening. That was a serious conversation. I was like, oh my, it doubled, like for real. Maybe it is time to buy. It makes sense, right? Like, why give that money to someone else if it's so much more than it needs to be?
So
it's all circumstantial.
Hold on. This comment's hysterical. If you were paying attention earlier, go find those houses that are having the fire sale and go look at the rest of the comps. Before you start saying that everything is dropping like crazy, go look at the rest of the comps and comp those out.
That's a good point.
And then come back and tell me that they're having a fire sale. So do that. So good to you. Good to you for the comment. Thanks for joining.
Well, when you say the comps, right? Like, so you're talking. Right. So I would explain that a little more. Like, what do you mean if somebody is a member of the public, doesn't have access to MLS data? What are they supposed to be doing?
Wait, Boise doesn't even have a Zillow program.
Right, because is Idaho not a non-disclosure state like Texas?
No, they don't own or sell any houses in Boise. They're none listed on their site as owned or repaired by Zillow.
So are we talking about dirty data? What are we talking about?
No, Boise, Idaho.
Comps are a joke. Okay.
Zillow does not own any homes in Boise.
Somebody came here for attention. All right.
Yeah. I don't see any. I didn't get anything coming up.
Well, I don't feel like I have to defend myself in any way, shape, or form.
No, but that's good to share. It's good, right? Like, so if someone's calling out that there's a fire sale going on in Boise from Zillow, it could be from Opendoor. It could be from someone else. It could be just a what do you call it? An Onion article. Like, we don't know.
It's also Boise. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad place to live, but I actually haven't heard the word Boise since like it's been 4 or 5 years. It's not exactly a booming place at the moment. So, there's that. I don't know if Boise is the best bellwether for our economy at the moment.
Okay. Metallic Tree asked, maybe you guys should talk to us, right? But does it make sense to buy homes off Zillow right now?
If you're buying, then yes.
Look at the comps. I mean, it goes back to the comps. If it makes sense, buy it. Yeah. If you can get it under list price, yeah. And if the house is in good condition, if you're not like house I looked at the other day, still needed like 10 grand worth, and it was still priced at market. So there's a reason why I was still on the market. I love people saying headquarters are moving, but thing is, people are not moving from headquarters.
You mean moving with headquarters, Sean?
I don't.
Like, so if a headquarters from one company is moving to another place, you're saying people are working remote?
Not sure. Doesn't make sense. I don't see the point of that. So if you're going to live in California, right, and your headquarters moves to Texas, would it make sense to move to Texas so you're not paying income tax in Cal? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
I think.
But it takes time. And so here's the thing that you don't understand, Sean. It takes time for a company to bring people over. It's not right away. Ian's been saying this for a long time. Like these headquarters announced, but it still takes years for them to move here. It still takes time for them to get people here.
And it also takes time for people to make the change themselves, right? People might love where they live and the headquarters is moving. If they want to continue working for that company, at some point, if the company wants them to go in, then they may need to relocate down the line. They might not be thinking that far ahead. It's more like, okay, well, I love this company. I'm staying where I'm at because I also love where I'm at. My kids are in school and all that, and I don't want to change. But at some point, if the company's mandate has been in the past, then you may have to adjust with the company. You may. It really depends. It depends if the company shift, if they have conservative thought where they want people in the office physically there.
So I have a pivoting. I have a question for this. So this person was looking at buying a condo downtown, but it makes more sense to rent for a year. My question is, what in your finances makes it worth more renting, or how did you come to this decision? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just curious to how you came to that decision.
Put it in Shiba.
Some people, it is better to rent for a year. If you're not financially ready, don't buy. I mean, don't buy. Yeah. So again, back to Dallas sucks. So any other final words on why people should even entertain Dallas over Austin?
Because it's not Austin.
Fair enough.
I'm going to need some more.
Because
No, that's fine. But that I can see it now. My phone's blowing up. People already want to move to Austin.
Mm-hmm.
You'd much rather have me as an agent than you.
Yeah, I just got a text. Who is this Levi guy? What is he talking about? Just kidding. All right, Levi, you got to jump off, or are you still good for a little bit?
I got a few minutes. I got my Zoom room open, so I'll see if my client jumps in. If they do, I'll jump.
All right, cool. So Levi is burning the candles at all ends. He's got an 8 o'clock buyer call or seller call, client call.
Yeah, I keep Tuesdays and Wednesdays open 8 p.m. just for our West Coast people, just because sometimes that's the best time for them to talk. So hey, we accommodate.
Oh,
that guy.
Joel, it was also a $32.9 million home, by the way.
Yeah, 3.2 doesn't seem.
It was $33 million. It was the most expensive sale.
Joe still has jokes. Joe, good to see you back, Joe.
Hey, Jeremy, I want to introduce somebody real quick. Can I do that real quick?
Yeah.
London, you want to see a real mullet?
Yeah, let's see it.
Come here, buddy. Come here. Come show him. I'm not joking when I'm telling you this. This puts mine to shame. So. Look at that, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, pretty bud. Swing it in the air. I'm jealous of it.
That deserves an applause.
This is my son, London. Future.
I see where you get it from, Kevin. I see where you get it from.
I know. Thanks, bud. See ya.
Oh, man,
you want to say hi or anything?
Hello.
Man, that voice got pretty deep from the last time I heard it. Man.
He's also grown up. He's
sounding down right there.
Yeah, man. It's. I'm jealous because it's way better than mine.
Metallic Tree, you've had some great questions, man.
This is
Thank
a really
you.
good question. I like it.
Here's a question for the entire panel. Given the current state of Zillow, how would each one of you take advantage of this, if at all possible, as an investor? Stock, real estate, anything. Look, you guys want me to go first?
I'll go if you want.
I can go. Yeah. I want to hear
go.
Kevin. I want to hear Levi.
Yeah.
I want to.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I mean, I said as an investor, no matter what these guys are saying about like data, if you're buying an investment home and you're looking out the long term, I don't, think that buying now versus buying a year from now or 2 years from now even really makes a difference. But you have all that time to be building equity during that time. So if you're investing in real estate, I think it's a good time to go to those homes that Zillow owns and within reason, give them lower than ask offers. Of course, run your data, make sure it's a neighborhood that you want to be in and that the rental comps are good. But I think it's a good time to go to them. But market advice, I don't know that anybody in this anybody anywhere would give you market advice and tell you what to buy and not buy. I wouldn't buy Zillow if it was $1 a share. I'm just going to be honest with you because I don't believe in the company. So I'm not going to invest in it. I'm not going to give them any of my money, whether it's going to go up or not. So that's my 2 cents.
Along those lines, I don't invest in companies or things that I don't believe in. And Zillow has been one of them. Yes, I said that. And so, I don't think I would invest in their stock. But to answer the question, I think it would depend on how much money you're trying to invest, right? Because, putting 500,000 into a stock versus 500,000 into a house where it's a tangible asset and you can also cash flow off of it. And, there's so much more to it than that. Or like Kevin said, you might have institutional money and might be able to buy up neighborhoods that Zillow owns. Like that changes the conversation a lot. So in my first answer would be the majority of people that are on this channel watching are looking for an opportunity to get into the Austin market at what they consider reasonable price. And I would say look at what's out there and then look at the Zillow version and then say, is this a better deal? And if so, can I also sweeten the pot by lowering the price or negotiating somewhere? And I would just start there.
Well put. That's actually way better articulated than I could even say. Definitely, Ian, I agree with that. Compare it.
So for me, when it comes to investing in the stock market, stocks and all that, I got a guy for that. I don't do it because I know where my strengths are and it's not the stock market. I don't have patience to sit there and every time it goes down a little bit, I freak out. So I stay away from the stock market. I got people that do that for me. Secondly, as far as real estate goes, I am still actively buying properties. I am still looking for deals. The challenge we're running into in November is something I've been saying for a very long time. And all those people that are calling for a crash cannot get around. It's a fact. The inventory again has dropped again. Just today, we're at about 3,800 listings for the Austin area. Take 2 weeks ago, we were at 4,500. So we've dropped another. So my prediction is November numbers probably be about 0.9 to maybe 1 month inventory, depending on how many sales happen. So if less sales happen, that number is going to be pushed up. If more sales happen, that number is going to flatten out. So when it comes to Zillow, if I can find a good Zillow deal right now, and that's the tough part about Austin, is it's hard to find a deal. I'm buying properties in New Braunfels. I'm buying properties in San Antonio right now because it's a challenge. And when stuff pops up, the problem I always run into is I always have an investor for it. So I'm like, hey, this is a good deal. Go get it. And they jump on it. And it happens all the time. Now, when it comes to Zillow, I've looked at some of the Zillow stuff. If my challenge in my brain is that Zillow is not easy. All these iBuyers are not easy to work with. And Levi made the point earlier. So I'm thinking in myself, is trying to buy this Zillow or Opendoor, whoever the company is it worth the headache of having to go through the process? Because the processes aren't as streamlined. And so there's more stress that needs to be in there. So is it worth the stress? So when it comes to that, that's how I look at it. If the dollars make sense and I can get something under what the comps are showing or lower, I'll get it. I'll put an offer in on it. But the challenge is it's just not there. Levi, any thoughts on, I missed the question. Where was it right here? This question?
Well, unlike Jeremy, I'm not a financial advisor. So I'll just throw my 2 cents in there. The thing is that you make your money when you buy, not when you sell. So people are actively buying, just like Jeremy said. People that sit there and try to time the market, I think are just, they're always going to miss out on opportunity regardless. Investors, true investors, make money in any type of market. So there's always a deal to be found, and you have to keep your eyes open. And if you've got the money or the cash to find the right deal and make an investment, that's when you need to act. Because but sitting around looking for the perfect deal, they're hard to come by. Now, in a down market, or is there more opportunity? Sure, there could be more opportunity. But, Warren Buffett or anybody else, is not sitting around just waiting and waiting and waiting. He's still evaluating companies. He's still looking at stocks. He's looking at where's the gaps, where can I buy, where can I purchase. Same as Jeremy right now, still actively buying. Why? Because he's evaluating each deal as it comes along. And if it's not a good deal, then you don't buy it. But that's whenever I say, you make your money when you buy. So you can find a good deal as long as you have room in there to do the work if it needs work. and you can flip that if that's the plan, or if it's under value, or the market rent right now is better than what it's been, which there is some bidding war situations going on right now with rent in Dallas. So that's a situation where you could take advantage of that at this time. So and get actually more than what market value is for rent right now. So if you're trying to buy a rental property, then you might actually get a few $100s more than what is at market value right now, because there's a shortage on rental properties as well. So money can be made in any market, and if you're a true investor, you'll find the deals.
Apparently you can buy sheds at Lowe's. Now, Nelly says Dallas seems like a more stable real estate market. It didn't go up quite as much over the last year, so I think the market is less risky. What was the overall numbers, like the peak of year over year that Dallas saw? It was like 32%.
Well, the other thing about less risky,
I didn't look at that right now. Let me check my charts and graphs. I thought it was 18% what I saw.
I think Austin went up a total of 48, but is leveled back out around 25% as of right now.
Yeah. I mean, we just got a property a couple of days ago at list price, and then even after inspection was able to get a $10,000 credit toward that based on the inspection. So again, it's like it's one of those things where we're always working to find the best deal for our client and look for every type of situation where we can get them the best deal regardless. And it does depend on the area, whether or not you can actually have the opportunities to secure something at days on market. But something that we do as well is like we do searches. Here's a little trick for you, for the agents, if there's any other agents watching, is that set yourself up on 2 searches. If you're searching for a client, not just a search for new homes, but a search where days on market is at 14 or 21 days. Because right now in this market, if properties stay on the market for some reason after 14 or 21 days, everybody thinks that there's something wrong with that property, or it's not a good deal. And somehow, or maybe it fell out of escrow or something like that. So the days on market stay there. And then all of a sudden it's not a good deal anymore. Well, when those houses come available or they fall out of escrow, they don't necessarily get listed, relisted. They're still continuous days on market. So we find deals all the time where something's been sitting just for longer than a couple of weeks, and you can go in and negotiate those deals as well. So there's different ways you can navigate any type of market.
You're absolutely sharing my secrets. Don't do that.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, the problem in Austin is that what you're saying is what I've been saying, what every agent's been saying. So what I see is stuff that's sitting on the market 14 days still goes into multiple offers. It might not be, $100,000 over list price. In fact, it's not $100,000 over. Well, it depends. I was pouring through the data that just closed for October. So in my video that was Tuesday, I talked about a lot of this in my Tuesday video. And I was seeing stuff in the $1 million still sell, like listed at 1.1, selling at 1.2. But the reality is a lot of stuff that I was seeing was selling 10, 15 grand over list price, 5, 10, 15 grand under. So, I mean, the market's definitely stabilized in that aspect, and people aren't going as crazy. And I think, people are anticipating potentially that there is going to be a crash. So they're being a little more hesitant. It's the same thing with any stock market. The stock market goes up crazy and all of a sudden corrects. It's because something came into the market and people are pricing in the fact that it might crash. The challenge in Austin is that we're still like less than a month inventory. I don't know how Dallas is, but that's not a lot of inventory. Less than a month inventory is not a lot of inventory.
Jeremy, we've got 22 active showings right now, 22 active clients that we're showing. 15 of them, we could sell a house today if there was some new construction inventory. But, the 15 of those 22 people are, specifically want new construction. They're waiting for specific properties or specific builders, which, hey, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But at the same time, we could be selling a lot more if there was some inventory available. On top of that, as I mentioned earlier, Dallas is very business friendly. Dallas is very freedom friendly. I mean, we were just at a real estate conference 2 weeks ago here, 5,000 people not a single mask, in the whole house.
That's not true. There was a few. I was there. I was not wearing a mask, and I came out fresh as a day.
I'm saying
I smelled better than Ian did.
As far as requirements,
Right.
requirements, you weren't getting I was in a conference in LA 2 weeks before that, and there was mask police everywhere, literally. Like, if you weren't covered up in a beehive outfit, they were,
Was it a Karen name tag?
Yeah. I mean, it was, it's just interesting. And that's what people are, wanting to leave. And now more and more people, they're approved to work remote, right? They can work from home. They're starting businesses, or their business is getting choked out, in these other states. And they are flocking to Dallas, like crazy. And again, because we do have room to grow, I don't know. I just don't see it slowing down for Dallas, at least. But interestingly, to the comment earlier, I mean, I believe, Dallas has been mostly stable, mostly stable. And right now we're seeing still prices are doing well. And the thing is, even if the market crashes tomorrow, a $600,000 house in Dallas is not going to be worth $300,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. I mean, maybe it goes to 550, maybe it goes to 525. But again, if someone's buying a home, what we always say is, hey, ideally, hopefully you're going to be there for, 3, 4, 5 years. If that's the case, then, you should be able to wait out any type of market correction. If there is a market correction, you'll probably live through that if you plan to stick around for, 3, 4 years. Now, if you're just coming in for a year and you're planning to sell and get out or do whatever, I mean, okay, yeah, the market could dictate whether you win or lose on that deal. Probably wouldn't say if you're only going to be here for a year, probably wouldn't be the best decision to buy immediately.
So sorry for cutting everybody off. I want to go back to this because this guy was saying, I asked earlier about, why he would wait. He says, why rent for the first year? Because a price correction, if not crash, seems likely than not. Does this panel disagree?
I mean, I think it depends on your goals. I mean, are you going to be here, again, for 2, 3, 4 years? Is that the goal? Are you trying to buy your dream home? Are you trying to buy the home you're going to be in for which really doesn't happen anymore, right? It seems like people are moving. Actually, what the data says now, everyone likes data. They say people are now more likely to move every 3 years, as before it used to be like 5 to 7 years. Now that's shortened to 3. And I think people are just, they're changing jobs more often. They're taking job opportunities. Now work from home is like a very big deal. So many corporations are not even, people are not going back into the office. And so now they're getting to choose where they live for the first time. Think about somebody that's been working at a company in another state for the last 10, 15 years. And now they don't have to go back to the office. They're not location dependent on their job. Their job is saying, well, shoot, you've been doing your job for the last year and a half from home. So why not? And now they're like, well, it's time for us to get out of here, because they get to keep their same salary or, very close to it. And that's going to go a lot further, especially here in Texas compared to those other areas. So, it just depends on what your goals are as far as, if renting for the first year is good for you or not.
Well, I mean, so this is the thing. I think a lot of people see prices went up so high in 1 year that they think, oh, I have to get that return in 1 year. That's not going to happen. And everyone on this channel has said for the longest time, don't buy to sell in a year. That's the dumbest thing you can do. It's not like a stock that you can buy and hopefully it goes up 20%. You sell it the next year and you made money. It doesn't work that way. Real estate's very resilient.
People get lucky that way, but yeah, that's not the way it should work.
And I think a lot of people did get lucky. All the people that moved in mass to Austin in 2020 that want to sell in 2021 or 2022, like, yeah, you did pretty good buying in early 2020.
You know what people don't ever account for whenever they want to sell in a year or two?
Paper hands.
Gas fees.
What?
Oh, sorry. Gas fees.
Well, Kevin gets that. Okay,
Gas
thank
fees,
you.
I'm with you.
All
well,
right,
I'm saying, I mean, if
Go
you're going
ahead.
to sell in a year, if you're going to use a real estate agent, well, then you have, real estate agent fees, you have closing costs, you have, other fees associated with that, but nobody ever accounts their payments that they make over that year and a half. So if your mortgage payment is $2,000, let's say for easy math, that's $24,000. Well, if they say, well, I can profit $40,000, but you pay $8,000 to an agent, you have, $2,000 in closing costs. And then you may get back $30,000 in cash, but you didn't make $30,000 because you paid $24,000 in payments over the last year.
Well, to jump on that, actually, you're not actually okay. So they are paying $24,000, but how much would they have had to pay in rent, right? So maybe they don't count that. Maybe they do. Maybe there's a difference there. It might be $800 or something, but that number is a factor, but there's going to be an adjustment to it.
Just so you
They
don't
have to
think
live
that
somewhere, unless they're like, I've got a client lives with her parents and has purchased 2 separate investment properties. Doesn't have her own property. I'm like, okay, that right? Like what? Good for you.
But still, if you rented, you don't have an opportunity. I mean, you're just paying for the cost of having a roof over your head. That's it. So even if you buy a house,
my point is that's a wash.
Yeah. Well, you're not. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to.
It's not a sunk cost.
It's not a profit. Yeah. Just because you get $30K back in your pocket doesn't mean you made $30K.
I would say, I mean, and just so that we don't get like people saying that we just tell people what we think that like that they should buy all the time or that they should use realtors. I agree with all these guys. If you're going to sell the property within a year or 2 years, I don't know that it makes sense. I don't know that we're encouraging you to rent for a year. I'm not encouraging you to do that either. If you're going to rent for a year and you know that you're going to buy, you're just waiting to see it. I don't know that I would wait that time, but a condo is also a little different than a house that if you're buying a condo downtown Austin, you know, you're going to lease, I don't know how big you're going to get, but you're probably going to pay $4,000 or $5,000 a month for a nice condo. If you were to buy it, your mortgage payment is probably going to be like $3,200, and then taxes are going to be like a lot, at least $1,000 a month, and then HOA is probably going to be $1,000 a month. So,
but he's also putting in $120,000 right toward the down payment and closing costs too, right? Like that's another part that isn't always discussed, right? So your mortgage might be low, but if you're fronting a couple $100,000, well, then you're not really saving.
Well, that's why I said it's more complicated than that, because you have a sunk cost. You have a sunk cost either way, right? You have a sunk cost for the rent completely, all by itself, full rent, or you have a sunk cost even if you buy of taxes and HOA. But you're also getting appreciation on the house. In the end, you're not making a ton more money after 1 year. Like you're probably losing money. Like we're talking about, you're probably losing money after a year. But if you're going to keep it for 3 or 4 or 5 years in Austin, then I don't know that it makes sense to rent for that first year if you know that you're going to be here for 5 years.
So I think my response to Brother Ted would be, do you have a target in mind? Right? Because if you're saying that there might be a correction or a crash or whatever you want to call it, if you have a target number.
Well, and the other thing is how much what does a crash mean? How much is that?
That's exactly what I'm saying. So if in your mind you think it's going to drop X amount and it dips below that threshold and then you buy, as long as you know that, that's part of your strategy, go for it.
But also the other end is if you buy right now and it crashes,
demonetized,
then you only lose money if you sell, right? It's not like it doesn't matter what the market does at that point if you're holding on to that property for a longer period of time. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. I think it makes way more sense to discuss that on like a lower valued property or like that $400,000 or $500,000 range in a suburb of Austin. I think that's a much clearer answers. I believe that you shouldn't necessarily wait if you're going to do that. I don't know that I would rent, but the condo is more complicated because your ownership on condo is has a higher sunk cost as well. Single family homes.
Good.
Jeremy, you're muted.
I know.
I don't know if you're trying to talk or if you just.
I was playing music that would get us demonetized on.
I noticed that.
So, my bad, skis. The title was Zillow, The Amber Life, not Disney.
We don't have any new information on Disney. We'll just put it that way.
Not that we're going to share and risk getting sued on YouTube.
We keep that on private Discord channel.
Yeah, if you all want to join us for the after hours where we sit down and talk to each other and it's not recorded, yeah, sure, we'll talk about it.
And Jeremy will meet you at Cosmic Coffee.
Yeah, no, I'll meet you at Cosmic Coffee. Actually, I'm going tomorrow at 10:30 tomorrow. 10:30 tomorrow. 10:30
By,
tomorrow.
by the way, last week I did go to East 6th Street after our stream, and I had a great time.
Nice. But East 6th.
East 6th
Not
Street.
90s 6th.
Loving it. Loving it over there. They even had a vintage store that was open till 11 o'clock.
What are you buying vintage other than headphones?
So this is
No, it's clothes.
This is a great question. So the answer to this question is yes. Do you think the demand in Austin will have tax rates going down? Tax rates. So the city of Austin and the school districts have said, "Oh, we reduced tax rates." Okay, but they're not reducing tax values of homes. So they can say we reduce tax rates, but the taxes you pay still go up. Right. So they're saying they reduce tax rates, but they're increasing the value of your home. If the value of homes start coming down, they'll do what? Increase tax rates. So because what happens is if they keep the tax rate the same and it goes up, what happens is they go, oh, we have a surplus. What do we do with this? And then there's a lot more questions. So they try to still, adjust tax rates to go with what the budgets are. So yes, I do think you'll see some tax rates come down, but they still want that tax dollar. But wait, doesn't second guess real estate. I don't know what that means. I didn't read it. Thoughts on smaller submarket in Texas for investing? Corpus Christi, Boca Chica, right, Ian?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All these Californians will be missing the beach and want to live. That's why I bought a place in Sal Padre. Boom. That is constantly rented. Holy crap, it's constantly rented. All right. Any other good statements there, Levi?
It's not so you can spend spring break there?
No, not at all. We went down for spring break last year and it wasn't that bad. I would imagine this year is going to be crazy because last year they had all the college kids they didn't allow all the college kids to go on spring break. So it was nice down in Sal Padre. This year,
well, I guess my closing statement would be if you're thinking about moving to Dallas, Texas, give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. Happy to help you make a smooth move to Dallas.
Happy to take you to a Dallas
or Frisco, right?
Yeah. Prosper.
Frisco is actually.
What kind of name is Prosper anyway? Like for a city, I don't know if I like.
So,
well,
there's actually a story behind that.
Bill it.
Yeah, well, Prosper is because it's short for prosperous because that was whenever they founded it up there back in the 1800s. They felt it was going to be a prosperous community. They wanted to create a positive vibe there as well, and so yeah, they went with Prosper,
like Mulletville,
like Mulletville.
Original.
I'm actually thinking of Las Mullet Vegas.
That's a T-shirt. Go. It's good.
That's why. So just to catch up here, Levi, Dinosaur D's character is he loves himself some mullet man. So if you notice, this dinosaur has got the white headphones. And the mullet.
It's got a mullet. Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
I just dropped the headphones so y'all could see the mullet better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I have a feeling. I don't know how long the mullet's going to last. I don't know if I can do this for like a decade.
Well, I got 50% of a nice comment from Dinosaur D, so I guess that works for something. That's better than you prepped me for.
Trust me. If he said anything even neutral, he likes you.
Yeah.
If he didn't like you, we all would know. And he's our bellwether too. He runs the filter for us.
Well,
admin.
Admin
status.
I appreciate the opportunity, guys. It was fun.
Just to be clear, obviously we do this all in good fun and jest. I think Dallas is a great area. I lived in Little Rock, and it was actually going to be my first choice in moving to Texas because that's pretty much what people in Little Rock do. They just move to Dallas because it's the closest big, nice city. But then out of a whim, I just decided to move to Austin, and I've never regretted it since. But to be honest, I think Dallas is a great place.
Yeah. I love Austin. I got some good friends down there, except for Jeremy. And,
I knew that was coming. You just hear me laugh because I knew he was going to say that.
So
Predictable.
there's some amazing real estate agents other than Jeremy, but so yeah, I mean, I love it. I think it's beautiful. I love the hill country down there. So, I think the skyline, all the buildings, everything downtown, it's a cool spot. I mean, I like it. So,
There you have it. The whole time he was trying to get everybody to move to Dallas, but he secretly wants to move to Austin. He's jelly.
So what we need to do is we need to have Joel and Levi meet in Waco and have like a boxing match.
Well, first of all, I'm not going to Waco.
No, but it's halfway between.
Well,
That's Waco's
I
still
still would
crazy.
not go to Waco anyway.
Come on, we got cinnamon rolls, go to Magnolia. It'll be fun. Remote broadcast.
Yeah. Well, Joel wouldn't stand a chance because I would one elbow. And
Now I feel like we need to figure that out. And we really need to know.
Travis. I said Travis because Travis Scott, but Scott. I mean,
Travis Scott.
this is
So Scott, what's up?
This is such a great point because two things. Everybody thinks the market's going to crash, right? So they're going out and renting, but there's not really a ton more inventory hitting the market. And then property taxes going high means that people are forced to rent because an unaffordability issues happening with higher taxes. Scott, nail head, got it.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what he's talking about.
Can we bring up Jennifer or living in Austin, Texas? Can we bring up her comment? That's a good one to highlight there.
Levi, all DFW referrals to. Okay. Oh, we found a plant.
Yeah.
This is a plant.
Is that a plan?
Is this a plant? Did she? I don't even think that's real. I'm gonna have to go find.
No,
her.
that's Jennifer.
Is that your partner or your wife?
Jennifer, she's a real estate agent in Austin. Yeah.
Oh,
actually the best real estate agent in Austin. So if you're
She's not your favorite real estate. She's got a mullet and she doesn't have a beret.
They're gonna kick you off for all these lies. I'm sure she's wonderful. Austin is more down to earth for sure. Dallas is Bougieville. Nailed it.
Ooh.
Yeah, with that jacket. Do you? I'm surprised you're not wearing sunglasses inside too.
If you can't afford it, don't knock it.
Oh,
If
you have to ask what the price is. You're in the wrong spot. Yeah.
No.
San Antonio and Dallas folks dressed up, but Austin was known for Anyway,
That's a derogatory term.
is it? I don't know.
Is it?
I didn't even want to read it.
When did that happen?
I'm just joking.
Oh. And it's not hippies, it's hipsters, isn't it? Like, isn't that?
It used to be hippies, and now it's
right in the 70s or whatever, 80s.
Yeah.
I don't get this.
Everybody.
Hey, I only got one thing to say to Dinosaur D. Bye 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 bye.
Wait, that's in sync. That's in sync.
That is not
That's
the
in
right
sync.
thing.
Yeah.
That's the wrong band.
Yeah.
That's the wrong band.
Oh, is it? Well,
Yeah,
the
that's
fact
in sync.
The fact that the people from Austin know that, there you go.
Yeah, that was no. I'm sorry. I was a TRL kid growing up, so there's no way I can forget that. And that just went over my head too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what a Backstreet
No, that
Boy
was
is.
total request total.
Yes, TRL.
Hey, remember the time that we sang for people on here?
That did not happen.
Yeah. Did Kevin sang
God,
like?
No, please do not.
What did you sing?
Man, I feel like a woman. I think. Right.
That's right, you did. Yeah, and then he whisked his mullet back too.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we're an hour and a half
A lifetime
in.
ago.
That's gonna be it for me tonight. I gotta go put a kid to bed. We will see you all in the next one. Thank you very much. Everybody say bye to Levi. Thank him for joining and taking all the
Levi.
abuse
Bye,
from
Levi.
Dinosaur D.
Thanks,
Bye,
brother.
Dinosaur D.
Bye.